Okay, aloha everyone. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining the Leveraging Lamakū Creator Plus with H5P and Lumi for creating content, interactives, and assessment webinar. This is a 75-minute minutes webinar. It's hosted by the UH Online Innovation Center. And today we have our presenters from UH Manoa, Leeward Community College, and UH Community College, UH Community College office. So my name is Laura Tran. I will be your facilitator today. Thank you for joining us. So before we get started, we want to know have you used Lamakū Creator Plus, H5P, or Lumi before we start the session? So we're gonna do a quick Zoom poll. If Matt can open a poll right now, that'll be great. So just tell us in the Zoom poll, check all the options that apply. Either I have used Creator Plus, I have used Lumi, I've used H5P, or I have heard of those tools, but I haven't tried them yet. Oh, thank you. I see the numbers are coming in. Great. Okay, let's see, we have 77% responded. Okay, let me end the poll and we can look at the result briefly. So it looks like the majority of a lot, 50% you have used this tool and haven't tried it, and 50 of yes, some of you have tried H5P, and a smaller number have tried Creator Plus and Lumi. Thank you for sharing. So if you during the presentation today, our presenter will focus on some examples and do a quick demonstration, but you'll have chance during our breakout room time to ask more in-depth questions or technical questions if you are really interested in those tools. So we'll make sure we have the time to cover and answer your questions today. Mahalo for sharing this with us. Okay, so for today's webinar, we have a couple objectives. We're hoping to have a chance to do this webinar to explore the practical applications of Creator Plus, H5P, and Lumi tools to enhance student engagement and streamline curriculum creation and assessment. We're hoping to have a chance to discuss strategies and best practices for using these tools to foster an interactive, efficient, and visual engaging learning environment in Lamakū. So this is our agenda today. We will spend 45 minutes in the presentation and demonstration part. And then during the breakout room time, you will have a chance to go into breakout room with our guest presenters and instructional designer to dive deeper into different tools and to ask any follow-up questions you have. During the closing, so don't leave after the breakout session, because during the closing, we're going to share some additional events and resources related to the tools we talked about today. All right, without further ado, I'll introduce our guest presenters. Today, I want to welcome Anushka Fauci from Leeward Community College, Avery Ito Fujita from UHCC Assistant Office, Kahelani Nono from UH Manoa, and I'm Laura Chung George. I'll be your facilitator or moderator today. Okay, so first we're gonna Avery's gonna give us a quick overview about Creator Plus and share some examples with us. I'll start my screen share so Avery can take over.
Hi, everyone. So Creator Plus is a set of tools that can be used to create interactive content within Lamakū. And there are 4 options that we will be going over today. So we have elements, practice, layouts, and H5P. So why should you explore Creator Plus? With Creator Plus tools, you can create visually appealing and organized content, include interactive elements to encourage student engagement, provide students with instant feedback through activities, and leverage Lumi, which is a built-in AI tool, to generate content and save time. Lamakū provides you with helpful instructions to walk you through the process of using Creator Plus tools, making them easy to learn and also fun to play with. So where is Creator Plus and Lamakū? This is a screenshot of the Brightspace editor that can be found in various places. But this screenshot is specifically from creating a file or a web page in Lamakū. And you can access, again, Creator Plus authoring tools through the Brightspace editor. You'll select the pen and paintbrush icon and reveal a drop-down menu list of Creator Plus options. And the first option we'll be talking about today is the insert element option, which is represented by the magic wand icon. Elements help to visually organize and structure content while presenting information in a visually engaging way. And most of these elements require students to click on them to reveal information. And the way information is revealed helps students with memorizing, organizing information, as well as drawing connections between them. And elements can also break up long stretches of text and help students visually separate and chunk information. You may have experience already with certain elements if you've been using our campus templates. And in those campus templates, you may have seen templates for accordions and tabs. And Creator Plus is just another option to insert these elements through another approach. So later on, in the breakout rooms, if you come to the Creator Plus breakout room, I can go over how to insert a Creator Plus element since there's a whole bunch of them. For now, I'm just going to show you briefly what a Creator Plus element looks like. And this is a click and reveal element. So I have 3 panels here, and they talk about the various ways you can use rhetoric in everyday life. So we have social media and advertising, and if I hover over it, it'll show or highlight that there is an interaction here. I can click on it to reveal more information about social media and advertising. And you can click it again and it'll turn right around. So this is an example of a Creator Plus element, insert element, excuse me. Next, we have insert practice. So insert practice allows you to embed an interactive question on a web page, and it acts as a low stakes or formative assessment for students to apply knowledge after reviewing content. And insert practice does not connect to grades or track completion. If you want something similar that does send student attempts and responses to the grade book, you'll learn more about H5P interactives, which do that later on in this presentation. So I'm going to switch it back again to Lamakū. This is an example of an insert practice question. So this is a multiple choice question that I have, and it asks, according to the passage, which of the appeals outlined by Aristotle is the most reliant on logic, facts, and reason? And the student can click on an answer. Let me say pathos, which is the incorrect response. Maybe Lamakū is a little bit sleepy, so it's taking a little bit longer to load right now, but it would provide an instant feedback response as to whether or not the student said the correct answer. So in this case, it's supposed to show up that they didn't get the answer correct, and the student can try again. So insert practice is a great way, again, to help students reinforce the information that they previously reviewed on the web page. Some people add the insert practice question at the end of the web page for that reason, or they can insert it at the beginning of the web page to evaluate, or provide a test for what students currently know. And then after they go and review the content, people insert another practice question to show them like what they learned from the web page. Okay. So just a heads up about insert practice. When you are editing a web page and afterwards you insert a practice question into a web page, the question will look like this. It's not going to show up and show the questions. or the answers. It's only when you save the web page and look at it through the preview mode that you do see the question show up. So don't be alarmed if you see something like this. If you are working with insert practice, we have also received questions about, is it possible to edit the styling of how this question looks like here? Like, can we add more borders? Can we change the styling of the text? And unfortunately, at this time, it's no. But insert practice does make up for the fact that you can insert a variety of different types of questions. Next, we have layouts. Layouts are used to create panels that add structure and help organize your course content. And it's similar to Laulima's add layout option. This feature offers 4 panel layouts with adjustable sizes. So as you can see here, there's 4 options ranging from 2 panels to 3 panels. And if you choose the 2 panel option, you can select the size of the panels. And unlike elements, layouts are purely for structuring content and they don't really have an interactive component. One thing to note is that when you are editing a layout and looking at the panel, you'll see that there are borders on the sides of the panels. That's only for your view only. When you save the layout, as you can see here, there are no borders between these 3 panels. Another thing to note is that the panels or the layout will look different between desktop view and mobile view. So we can see here, again, there's no panel lines, but when we go to the mobile view, we can see that even though there is a 3-panel layout, the panels are stacked on top of each other. So just be aware of this small change when your students look at a layout on their phone. Okay, so right now I'm going to show you what a Lamakū web page again looks like with all of these Creator Plus elements incorporated. My original web page is just text. Here, there's really nothing to it except text. There's no headings whatsoever. So looking at this page, we are going to then go to the revised version of this web page. The web page starts out with an element. This is a callout box, and this is to highlight that this is a quote that the student should pay attention to. As we scroll down the page, we are going to get to these panels that we previously saw that students can click on and they turn around to reveal information. As we scroll down the page, again, this is a accordion, and these accordions are acting as a way to organize information such as the 3 rhetorical appeals. Students can use this button to open all the panels at once, or they can click and reveal information. Within these panels, you'll also notice that an image is also integrated into it. That's something you can do. Now you can insert text, you can insert images as well as embed videos, which is a great feature. As we scroll down, we come to another element called a timeline. And this organizes a brief history of rhetoric and different points on the timeline in chronological order. So I previously mentioned that elements can help students visually tie information together, and a timeline is a way to do that, to show students there is a chronological order to the information being presented. After all of that information, internet is slow, apologies, but a review question would show up right here to end our web page on a note that allows students to test the knowledge that they just learned. So these are all, insert element, insert practice features on one web page. And again, it's improved what we previously saw, which was just a web page with pure text. And right now, I'm going to pass the baton to Anushka, who will be talking about H5P interactives.
All right. So H5P interactives, I think Calf said they already use it. So maybe that's all news for you guys. But they're a great way to just make learning more playful and add some practice activities to your courses. I use it in two ways. I use H5P like just mixed in with content materials just to kind of here and there. So in one of my courses, and I should say these are for both, I use it in my asynchronous online courses. So in one of my courses, I just have, I think, 6 or 7 of them activities sprinkled throughout the semester. And in one of my courses, I have it as a standard weekly activity to just kind of encourage them to look at things a little bit earlier. So if they do things, usually my pages open up, my weekly modules open up on Mondays, and then things are due on Sundays. And then so I have a page with 2 to 4 activities, depending how much time I have to spend on them. And if they do them by Thursday night, they get some extra points. They can do them at any time, but if they do them by Thursday night, they get extra points. So hopefully like an incentive for them to kind of look at things a little bit earlier. So how does that look? So I'll just show you on Lamakū. So one is like a mixed in with other content. So in my Lamakū sites, I have things separated from each week between learning material and learning activities, which would be like the quizzes and things. And so here I have like a topic page, and then there's some text and some videos. And then at the end, there's practice. There's like a little drag and drop to kind of, this is about this group of animals, which includes the sea cucumbers and sea stars. And you can just, so I made the background, and then you just can, I don't know, just put things in there and then check, if they were right or not. So that's one option. And then the other option I use is in that separate, so each week. So how does that look? So again, different course, but I divide it between learning materials and then learning activities. And for the learning activities, I have the first thing is a practice activities. So I made a separate page. And if you go on there, it says things, and I'm using actually the element, what is it called? The Creator Plus call out element. There's a little bit of things these days about, what is it called? Just to browser settings. So the first time you use H5P within a browser, it might give you some error message. So there's something you got to do troubleshooting. So I have that just on every page. I use this call out to make sure they set their settings so they can actually do the activities. And it seems like the students have been having issues at the beginning, but now it seems like the ones who are active on Lamakū and the course sites, they all are able to do them. So this seems to be helpful. And then I just have like different things. I do like, from videos, I do like this week, I did like 3 things, and I use different type of H5P things. Like this is just a video I use from TED, like a YouTube video, and I just added questions on there. So you can see on the bottom where the questions are, for them to answer. I did a crossword puzzle with kind of important terms for that week, and then text, fill in the blanks. And that's kind of like that week I need to add some of those practice elements Avery just talked about, but I feel like the fill in the blanks is an easy way to do, maybe to force them to read the text, which you share with them. So that's what I did that week. I just want to show some more examples. Like, it turned out they take a little bit longer. So it's my first time I'm using them in that class. And so every week I'm just adding them in. And so one thing what I like is, the jog just to have a realization where we're at. So I had them do the just what ocean. So this is a marine biology class. So you can drag and drop, whatever, where the oceans are. And then this one, another one was like the Hawaiian Islands. One thing I should say, I usually add extra words. So it doesn't all add up. So that they, have to a little bit to think. It's not just automatic. At the end, it's clear. And then of course the crossword puzzles. And it turns out, I'll talk a little bit about that, but crossword puzzles are very easy to do. So it's kind of a little bit my go-to thing every week. But yeah, you can label things, there's a lot of things you can do. So just that's kind of the examples. Here we go. So things to keep in mind, it takes a little bit of time. I was one of those H5P H5 people's LMS cohorts this semester, or the last year, I should say, and it's been really helpful to just kind of go for it. Just to learn, at the beginning, I thought, oh, I'm going to do all these interactive videos. And I realized, oh, these videos, they take actually a lot of time. So I did a few. I plan to do more in the future. But I just did a few of them and I ended up doing the things just were easier for me. It could be whatever, but also maybe made sense. So the crossword puzzles are easy. So there's one each week. And the drag and drop for some of the classes, like for example, this one, I just do them in PowerPoint or in Word, and then I reuse them, right? So each week we do a lot of go through the different groups of animals. And so each week for that course, when we do that, I just replace the pictures. And so I have the thing ready. So once you have one, but for those drag and drops, you have to basically find a picture, make one your own with the rights so that, it's done. But I realized once you did one, it's kind of easier if you save it properly and then you can just reuse that one. What else? It's okay to start small. I think my first activity I used last semester, I did use 4 things. 2 of them, I think I found in the repository, the UH repository, just reused something somebody else used. And then I think added 1 or 2, and then just this semester, I kind of added more. And there's lots of tutorials, right? So even within, and in the breakout room, I might go through maybe one I need to do for next week. So I might just do one. If you guys are interested, how easy it is. And then there's also a lot of activities already online on that repository. So here there's an interactive repository, and you just can, oops, sorry, I don't know what's happening here. There are a lot of examples, and some of it is maybe you can just use directly something, like I used the label of the cell, somebody else, that's, general biology class, so I could use that. But for a lot of my classes, there's nothing there, but I can get ideas from other things, to just ideas on how you could do it, right? So how you could do, especially drop down ones, I think was very helpful. So what do students think? So I just did a little for my first trial last semester. These are some of the feedback. So they like that it was interactive. They like that it's broken up and reinforced their information, enforced the information. So it's more than just the text and the videos. I've noticed most of them, the ones who are on it and submit things, they seem to be really doing them. I give very little. So my quizzes are usually maybe weekly quiz are 10 to 20 points, and I usually have some sprinkled in discussions and homework assignments are maybe worth 25 points. So these I'll make half a point. So it's not a lot of extra points, but I think that incentive enough seems to make it so that they'll do them. So even my class, I asked them to do things by Thursday night. I saw I think 2/3 of the students are doing them. And then here I think is aggregate answers from the 2023-2024 results. So it seems most of them really they're motivated to do them, right? So it's that gamifying knowledge thingy, and they just like to do them. They increase their engagement, they say they help them learn, and they would like to see more courses using H5P.
Thank you, Anushka. And before we go into the next tool, I was monitoring the chat, and for those who just joined our session, Mahal for joining us today. Today we talk about Creator Plus, Lumi, and H5P. And as Alice mentioned in the chat, for those of you who are not familiar with those three tools, before we go into Lumi, just want to do a quick clarification that we're going to talk about those three tools because they're all available in Lamakū for you as an instructor. You can utilize all those tools. That's why we want to have this opportunity to share with everyone about what are the features of this tool. And it's great to have two faculties coming here to share actual example like what Anushka just shared, the H5P example she has. So Creator Plus, like we mentioned in the chat, like the difference between Creator Plus activity and H5P is the Creator Plus activity are not graded. They are for practice purpose. H5P activity can be graded and can be linked to gradebook. Of course, if you want to know more about technical detail, we can go into the breakout room for the second part. We'll also provide resources and tutorials after the breakout room, so how you can access those tools and how to use them. But then for the next, after we talk about Creator Plus and H5P, next part, we're gonna talk about Lumi. And Lumi is an AI tool, and Avery will just give us a quick introduction. Also, I think Kahelani was also do a quick demo on how to use Lumi.
Thank you, Laura. So what is Lumi? Lumi is an AI tool integrated into Lamakū that helps instructors generate content for learning activities as well as assessments. And you'll know a tool is compatible with Lumi if there's a sparkle icon next to it. And there are three types of Lumi interactions. There's practice. It's compatible with the insert practice feature that I just went over. It's also compatible with assignments and discussions, and this is called Lumi Idea. And then finally, there's Lumi Question, which is compatible with quizzes. And just want to highlight what the Lumi workflow is kind of across all of these three types of Lumi features. All Lumi interactions kind of follow the same steps, including selecting the content you would like Lumi to reference, then selecting the Bloom's taxonomy level that Lumi's output should align with, and then Lumi gives you a chance to review its output as well as revise the prompts or the questions that it generates. So I'm going to go over an example for Lumi Idea focusing on assignment. But before I do that, I realized I totally blew past Lumi Practice earlier. So again, Lumi is compatible with Insert Practice. I am currently in a Create a File page. So when I go to Creator Plus Authoring Tools and I select Insert Practice, you'll come up with a list of possible practice questions, and you'll see that sparkle icon next to compatible questions that work with Lumi. There are two that currently don't allow for it, but the majority of practice questions will. So that's how you find Lumi with Insert Practice. It's a little bit different with assignments and discussions. So I'm going to go to a module. The key with Lumi Idea is you need to be in the content tool. You need to be in the module or sub-module for it to work. Unfortunately, if you go through assignments or discussions tool, the Lumi Idea option will not pop up. So say I want to create an assignment in the rhetoric demo module. I'm going to go to upload/create, and I'm going down to, let's say I need to create an assignment. So I'm creating an assignment, coming to the page. And I'm going to see here is generate assignment ideas. This is the Lumi icon. So I will click onto it. So up here, Lamakū or Brightspace is really great because it gives you instructions and parameters of how these Creator Plus tools will work. So I can generate 3 to 5 possible ideas using the HTML or web pages within my module. Unfortunately, Lumi can't read or analyze uploaded content or embedded content, such as PDFs or PowerPoints or Word documents. It has to be content within a web page. So I'm going to select the number of ideas and the Bloom's taxonomy level. So for those of you wondering about Bloom's taxonomy, it's a series of categories that if I click on this, you can see here, and they range in the level of critical thinking or skills that goes into it. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 levels. The lowest level is remember, and the highest level is create. So you don't have to select Bloom's taxonomy level if you want to just quickly get started with generating assignment ideas. But if you have an idea of what level your students should be working towards, you can select one, and I'm going to select apply. Next, you're going to select the content source. So I can include all activities or the web pages in the module rhetoric demo, or I can click on this one and select specific web pages. And I can select 2, I can select 1, etc. But for this one, I'm going to select include all activities. I'm going to select generate. And don't worry if this takes some time, because Lumi tends to be a little bit slow as it's reading through the content. So what I have here is prepared suggested ideas that Lumi did come up with. So as you can see here, it came up with 3 ideas. You can pick and choose which one you want, or you can ask Lumi to do this again. And then again, this is the same, I guess, process for both assignments and discussions. So I'm sorry, this one is assignments. The other one was discussion, sorry. So this is what Lumi came up with for assignments. And it's, if you look at the start of each assignment, you'll see a Bloom's taxonomy level reflected in the command verb. It'll say explain, discuss, summarize, and it'll use, again, the content from the module or the selected web pages. And then this one is a discussion based Lumi idea. So let's see if it's done. Yes, it's done. I can look at these and kind of select which one I want. And if I see one I like, I can select it and I insert it. And it'll be inserted directly into the instructions of your assignment or discussion. So right up here, it tells you, yes, this was Lumi assisted. Your students won't know that information. And from here, you can adjust with your own words what the guidelines or the instructions of the assignments are. So again, Lumi idea is a really great way to save time. It's a great way to brainstorm and help you if you don't know how to get started with writing a certain assignment for a module. And now I'm handing this off to Kahealani, who will talk about Lumi question, which relates to quizzes.
Big mahalo. Thank you, Avery. Let's get in here. Okay, so a couple things I want to highlight in the Lumi was I played around with the Lumi creating quizzes in Lumi, and a couple of things that stuck out while I was moving forward was I did it with the content source. I did it with custom text, which is exactly what Avery was saying. You can't use a PDF. I would have to highlight the text and bring it over. And then the total amount of questions, you could select up to 10 questions. And then for the question type, you had several choices. You could select multiple choice. You could select true or false, or written response, short answer, and then multi-select. And then for this Bloom's taxonomy, which I was kind of very curious about because I've experimented with 3 or maybe 4 LMS, and in their area to generate questions, I didn't see this before. So if those of you participated in the digital credentials with the Online Innovation Center, this would be the Bloom's taxonomy, the verbs that they use. So I would go back and forth to better understand which would benefit me for the type of quiz I was gonna use. So let's move over to the Lamakū, and I'm gonna do a live demonstration for you folks today. So generating a quiz in Lumi, we would go over to quizzes. And this is my Hawaiian 100 course. I've been teaching it since fall 2012. So I'm very familiar with the readings, which was very beneficial. So let's go over to question library. And we're going to hit generate questions. So for the course content, we want to select, I'm familiar with custom text, and this is where we're going to put in our text from our reading. And so the character limit is 8,000. So if you go above that, you will have to do this process twice for the same quiz. So when I first started, this was about March 14th. What I did was I'm going to stop share and reshare because this is a boo-boo I ran into. And so what I did was I would cut and paste the words from a reading, and I would come back over to Lamakū, and I would paste it in the source, and then I'll say, oh, I can do this. This is easy. And then I would just move forward without even looking clearly at the work. So certain words, the date and the author, I didn't need, but I didn't pay attention for the first time. For some reason, it was joining 2 words in a lot of the paragraphs, and I don't know why. So I wasn't paying attention the first time. So now I kind of know better. So you don't want to do something like that. So I would advise for your reading, I cut and paste them onto a Google Doc and I clean it. I don't need the web link. Sometimes you'll have the entire web link. I don't need dates. I don't need the author necessarily. You may, but I would clean the reading. So what you want to do is you want to bring over the reading, and we're going to generate questions. We want to do custom text, and we're going to paste it into the source text. And say I want to generate 4 questions. And I was most familiar with multiple choice because I did that a lot with Matt, with La Lima. And then Bloom's taxonomy, I favored understand. So then we'll let this process. So it's baking in the oven. We're going to come out with a delicious cake. And it takes time, but it's well worth it if you have a large amount of readings that you want to turn into a quiz. It's a lot of front work, but if you can power through it, it's very beneficial. So it's going to take us to a page where we're going to have to preview the questions, which is very important because when you look at when you preview the questions, some of your answers could be very similar. So you want to make sure that you don't have an answer that's close to the correct answer. So which of the following best describes the purpose of Hanakiaka program at the University of Hawaii? So you're going to read the correct answer, and then look at the distractors. So if the distractor is too similar to the correct answer, you can discard it, which I've made a handful of quizzes already, and there was a couple that I was like, ooh, that could actually mislead a student, so I would discard them. Okay, so then we would say we agree, we would keep, and we would move on. And we can just keep moving forward. And then save to a section. You can save to current section, or you can create a new section. Let's create a new section. And then save it. So it'll add to your library right over here. Well, I can make a, right over here, we have a folder. Okay, and then let's do another one because I know I was encouraged to try to do another one besides multiple choice. So the one I picked was one that I wasn't familiar with, which was multi-select, which I actually really enjoyed. Let's shrink this for time purposes. And then Bloom's taxonomy, let's take a different one and let's try remember, generate. Takes a bit of time, but I managed to, gosh, all the quizzes I did in one night. I did about close to 3 hours of work in one night. And it was well worth it. So let's do our review. So our question is, which of the following statements about the Hanakiaka program at the University of Hawaii at Manoa are true? Select all that apply. It was established in 2014 to represent Native Hawaiian voices in theater. Yes, Hailey Baker did that. Its productions are performed entirely in the Hawaiian language without subtitles. Correct. She wanted students the audience to feel the emotions of it, even if you didn't understand Hawaiian. It has toured its productions throughout the South Pacific region. Yes. Its production, Heleo Aloha, won multiple regional awards from the Kennedy Center American College Theater Festival. Yes. It stages adaptations of Western plays like Shakespeare's Twelfth Night and the Hawaii. Yes. Okay, this is a good one. And then select the people or group mentions in the text who are associated with the Hanakiaka program. Haile Opua Baker is the founder of the theater program. Iasona is a graduate of the MA, and he produced The 12th Night in Olelo, Hawaii. Ki'ile is an actress and performed in a couple plays in the Hanakiaka. Ka'iu is a graduate student. She was an undergraduate in theater. Now she's a graduate student in theater. Virginia Henshaw was a supporter, but maybe not exactly student or faculty. So I'm gonna leave it this way, and I'm gonna keep I'm just gonna keep it the way it is, and then I'm gonna save it to the current section, which is Hanakiaka. So now we have a quiz, and it has a variety it has two types of questions, multiple choice and multi-select. So if we look at go back to this slides, and then things we want to keep in mind is that learning Lumi takes time, but it does pay off. And then make sure you read all distractors, because some are very close and you don't want to mislead the students. And then you can find great tutorials on YouTube for Lumi in Brightspace. And then I know Dorothy set me up with ChatGPT for assistance, and that totally helped, because I would say, how do I make a folder? How do I create a different type of quiz? ChatGPT was a big help for me that evening I was working. And then maximize the Bloom taxonomy, because I haven't seen this in other quizzes in LMS, and I've experimented with Moodle, Canvas, or maybe I didn't find it, Lalima, and now with Lamakū. And then here's a link to the Lumi tutorial that the University UH Online Innovation Center created. And then the Brightspace helper, the ChatGPT for the Brightspace helper. This is where I went to when I wasn't in the Lamakū support. I would come here and ask my questions, and it was very helpful for moving forward when you're not in Zoom with the IDs. You can just ask the ChatGPT for help. Okay, so I'm going to stop share and then pass it back to Laura.
Yes, thank you, Kahelani. Mahalo, Ari and Kahelani, for talking about Lumi and demonstrate how we can use Lumi to create idea for assignment, discussion, and quizzes. We're gonna switch our agenda item just a little bit, because I know we are getting close to 12 o'clock, and some of you may have to log off a bit early. So I want to make sure we share some resources with you. Okay, so we'll come back to finish our breakout room, but I just wanted to share with everyone, remind everyone we are recording our section. We'll also be recording our breakout room. So we're posting those resources along with our slide deck on the event page. Also, it will be in the follow-up email going out next week. So you'll have access to all the resources. But before we go into breakout, I want to share a couple events with you. first one, I know some of you are interested in H5P. So there is an upcoming event for the UH H5P showcase. Let me do my slide share, sorry. There's an upcoming event on April 28th, UH H5P Showcase, Success Stories and User Experience from faculty and staff. We'll post a link in the chat. If you're interested, you can register for this event on April 28th. And we like Kahelani share and Kahelani and Anushka, they're both in H5P cohort before. So we have upcoming cohort, the 2025 and 26, it's called Lamakū Plus program, because they're gonna include not just H5P, but also Creator Plus and Lumi in this cohort. And we'll post a link in the chat if you're interested in signing up for this cohort. And also on our slide deck, I posted in the chat. If the link didn't work, no worry. We have all the links here. I will post it again in the chat. We'll have a tutorial to create content with Lumi, how to use H5P and Lamakū. And if you want to dive deeper, don't forget to visit the Lamakū Essentials course. We have the content in module 6 and 7 talking about how to create content with Creator Plus, H5P, and Lumi. So Lamakū Essentials course, definitely a go-to place to learn about all the Lamakū features. And like we mentioned, we'll be sending the recording and the slide deck to you. Actually, we can post a slide deck in the chat right now in case you had to log off a bit early. You can feel free to review the resources. Also, it can maybe a reference for you when you go into a breakout section. You can look at the resources in case you have questions for our presenters. So if my team member can post a link of the webinar survey and the presentation slide in the chat, that'll be great. Okay, so stay here for a few more seconds, making sure we have those resources for you. And so, yeah, so we'll be sending it to you next week. But for now, it will be a good time for us to go into our breakout room. We'll have 3 breakout rooms today. And in room 1, we'll talk about Creator Plus with Avery. Room 2, we'll talk about H5P with Anushka. Room 3 will be Lumi with Kahelani. We'll be recording the breakout activity. We may or may not post the recording. Depends on the conversation or the content I will share. If it's related to the, if you just mostly discussion, or if you have demonstration, we'll post a demonstration part. We'll record the breakout session as well. And we're gonna open the breakout room right now. And it's almost 11:50. We're gonna do a 20-minute breakout room and we'll come back at 12:10. So first, we want to mahalo again to Avery, Anushka, and Kahelani for presenting and sharing how to use the Creator Plus, H5P, and Lumi. It's really great to see some real examples. And we have all the resources for you. The tutorial are available for you. So we want to encourage you to try it. It's available for you in Lamakū. Those tools you used to have to pay for those tools, but now they're available for you. So definitely try those tools. They can definitely help with content creation, interactive and student engagement. So if those we have, like we mentioned, they have all those resources here for you. And it's on the slide deck. And if you cannot remember everything, just go to the instructor's essentials course. All the resources are there as well. And then before we go, want to remind, I'll post a link in the chat, something we didn't get to mention earlier. When you are trying those tools in Lamakū during the summer, that's probably the time most faculty are available. We are continuing our Lamakū support session this summer. It will be on Thursdays from 1 to 2 p.m. So feel free to join us this summer. Bring your Lamakū question or just want to come to me with other colleagues to hear from others sharing. Feel free to sign up for our Lamakū support session this summer, and the link is in the chat. Okay, so we have, let me see, sorry, wrong slide. Let's see, any specific thing we'd like to mention from the breakout discussion? Any notes or comments for everyone? From room 1, 2, or 3? Since we're a couple minutes here.
I'm going to share mahalo to Kahelani Lono for showcasing and sharing all that she has done, definitely with Lumi and other things, and then making helping me understand the difference between where Johnny came in to help us to understand the difference between the examples H5P and what it can do in a language, because Kahelani teaches Olelo Hawaii. And so more to come. Mahalo nui.
Thank you. Mahalo. Any other comment from room 1 or 2? And
Mahalo to everyone who came into room 1. Just wanted to highlight a couple of questions that came up. The first one was about whether or not, if insert practice, if it could be tracked if students, completed it or not necessarily sending scores to the grade book or anything, but just tracking interaction. At this time, the answer is unfortunately no, just because insert practice exists to be a low stakes activity, so there's no tracking for that feature. Another thing that we did together in the breakout room was actually fill out a timeline element. And it was pointed out that when we were filling out the text for the timeline, that in the Brightspace editor, there was an, insert Creator Plus authoring tools option. So the question was, can we insert another Creator Plus element within a Creator Plus element? When we selected that Creator Plus option, the only option that came up was layouts. So unfortunately, you can't insert an element within an element or a practice question within an element, but you can use layouts. So again, thank you to everyone in breakout room 1.
mahalo, Avery.
I'll piggyback off of that for breakout room 2. Mahalo to Anushka for helping to demo a couple of the activities and sharing how Gradebook is tied to H5P activities. So for all of the, I guess, the observations related to Creator Plus insert practice about not being graded and or not being able to insert an activity within activity can be solved by H5P, which is now part of Creator Plus. So there are solutions that are available, and H5P activities do not have to be graded. They can be ungraded or be indicated rather than points. You can have other like completions and reporting that's available with H5P. And so we did go over some of those pieces with the grading, how to delete, and then a quick like 4-minute rundown of how interactive activities work. But I would just like to do a quick shout out back to the Lamakū Plus program. So for those who are needing some additional assistance with training and orientation and things, the Lamakū Plus program is a maybe I wouldn't call it lower stakes, but it's a lower stress program. So it's not meant to be heavily rigorous, but instead kind of guides you along and motivates you to complete kind of baseline exploration and use of H5P. So there's no expectation to create a whole bunch of activities, but just to help navigate you through exploration of Creator Plus, H5P, and Lumi throughout the academic year. Encourage you to use it with your students, have them evaluate the activities, and then share back with each other at this upcoming showcase that we have coming up in a couple of weeks. And so I'd highly encourage you to join this program, because it is one where you get to connect with all of the alumni, past UH-H5P alumni who have finished out the program and may not be part of the current programs, as well as our UH-H5P support team composed of instructional designers across the system that voluntarily support this program. And so you'll have access to all of us, as well as a number of events throughout the year, such as our community sessions and our orientation, where we do take you through training and learning of a few or several of the 50 plus activities that are available in H5P. So hope you consider joining this program, as we currently have applications open until May 4th. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Alice. Yes, definitely you make a full use of all the events and programs and resources that we have make available for our UH community. So all the links are here, and we'll be sending the slide deck to you next week along with the recordings. Mahalo, everyone, for joining us today. We'll stay for a couple minutes if you have any additional questions. And if not, we look forward to see you in our future event.